So let's start today's news discussions. Pakistan started its eighth tenure as non-permanent member in UN Security Council. From January 1st, 2025, Pakistan will be for 2 years term a non-permanent member to UNSC. UNSC will have 15 members, 5 permanent and 10 non-permanent. America, Russia, France, Britain, China, they are 5 permanent. Permanent members have veto powers. Article 27 of UN Charter deals with veto powers. Permanent members have the power to stop any resolution by vetoing. Abstaining, that is not voting or not casting a vote, is not a veto. If any country out of 5 permanent countries gives a veto, the resolution will become ineffective. So, non-permanent members, India also was a non-permanent member for 8 terms. Now Pakistan. To become a non-permanent member in UNSC, to get elected as a non-permanent member in UNSC, 2 criteria will be followed. One is how the country fulfill the obligations under the UN Charter, and the second is equitable geographical distribution. Equitable geographical distribution. So this is the interesting news that have come up. Pakistan have become non-permanent member in UNSC for the 8 terms. Now in the Pakistan is in the 8th term as non-permanent membership in UNSC. Next important news, T.M. Krishna got Sangeet Kalanidhi Award. T.M. Krishna was a very famous musician. Actually, T.M. Krishna also got earlier Raman Magsaysay Award. Raman Magsaysay Award. Raman Magsaysay Award generally will not be given for music, but T.M. Krishna is a outstanding musician, not just because of music, but he has taken music to Dalit Vadas, fisherman community, LGBT community, and other communities. Generally, Carnatic music and other classical musics, they are confined to Sanskrit scholars and concert halls. But T.M. Krishna have taken music to common man. For that reason, he got Raman Magsaysay Award also. And the latest update is T.M. Krishna. Earlier, award was declared. Yesterday, it was awarded. T.M. Krishna, Sangeeta Kalanidhi Award for T.M. Krishna. And next important and interesting news is India's constitution to be translated into all 22 languages by March 2025. Our constitution to be translated into all 22 languages by March 2025. In the 8th schedule of our constitution, we have 22 languages. In the 8th schedule of our constitution, we have 22 languages, and almost there's a Telugu version, Tamil version I have seen, but our constitution is not properly translated into all 22 languages. Yesterday, PM Modi ji led union government have launched an initiative to translate the constitution into all 22 languages listed in the 8th schedule. The project led by the National Translation Mission. The project led by the National Translation Mission with support from the Ministry of Law and Justice, Official Languages Wing. So there's a Ministry of Law and Justice, the support from Ministry of Law and Justice Official Language Wing is expected to be completed by March 2025. Currently, the Indian Constitution is available in 18 languages. So at present, the translated version of our Constitution is available in 18 languages. The addition of Maithili and Sanskrit in 2024 marked a significant step towards promoting linguistic inclusivity. This is very important. So, even our constitution is available in Maithili and Sanskrit. Recently, November 26, 2024, President Draupadi Murmu unveiled the Sanskrit and Maithili versions of Indian Constitution. The Constitution Assembly of India have adopted our Constitution on 26 November 1949. Next. The issue that is coming up in the news. Today in the front page Hindu, Center told, we will accept Supreme Court decision on farmer stir, Dalewal stir. Union Agriculture Minister Shivraj Chauhan said that the centre will abide by the Supreme Court directions on the indefinite hunger strike by farmers leader Jagjit Singh Dalewal. The Supreme Court is looking into the matter. We will accept whatever decision the top court takes. However, farmers and farmer labor groups that have been camping in the interstate boundary of Punjab and Haryana since February 13, 2024 declared that they would not relent unless their demands are met, particularly MSP, farm loan waiver, etc. Farmers under the banner of Kisan Mazdoor Morcha KMM and Samyukta Kisan Morcha, they are now fighting. This is a very important development in India. Next important thing, net GST growth slumps to 3.3% in December as revenues drop and refunds rise by 45%. India's GST receipts increased at the second slowest pace in the 43 months in December, while growth in net GST collections after adjusting for refunds slumped to 3.3%, the weakest in the financial year 2024-2025. We have the weakest GST growth collections in the present month of December. December's gross GST inflows for transactions done in November were a tad under 1.77 lakh crores, hitting a 3-month low and reflecting 7.3% growth in comparison to the same month in the 2023. So GST collections last month hit a low. And next interesting and important news, I can say it's a sad news. Truck mows down 10 New Year revelers in New Orleans. In American state of New Orleans, a lone wolf attack was made. A US citizen with IS Islamic State flag hell-bent on, he was really very steadfast on carnage, drove a pickup truck. He has driven a pickup truck at a high speed into a crowd of New Year revelers in New Orleans on Wednesday. On the New Year occasion, a truck was mowed up and almost it's mowed down 10 Americans, killing at least 10 people and injured more than 35. The Federal Bureau of Investigation identified the attacker as Shamshaddin Jabbar, a 42-year-old US citizen from Texas. So very bad. He was fatally shot in an exchange of gunfire with police. So very bad. This is a very bad attack. You can see the picture of truck. A pickup truck was used to mow down 10 people who are in the New Year occasion in New Orleans in America. It's nothing but a terrorist attack. We can call, if a single man goes and attacks, lone wolf attack. Lone wolf attack. He is carrying a flag of IS, Islamic State. So lone wolf attack, Islamic State. And Hindu bodies differ on allowing men to wear shirt in Kerala temples. See, have you ever visited Padmanabha Swami temple in Kerala? If you go to Padmanabha Swami temple in Kerala, you are not allowed to wear a shirt. Major Hindu organizations in Kerala are divided over a suggestion to allow men to wear shirts while entering into temples in the state. Sri Narayana Dharma Sangam Trust President had given a call to end the practice of men removing shirts in temples, terming it regressive. Backing him, Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan also echoed the reformist thought, life and message of Sri Narayana Guru. Sri Narayana Guru is a social reformer from Kerala. He also led temple entry movements and he formed Sri Narayana Guru Dharma Paripalana Mahamandapam, and he was a progressive thinker. While the Sri Narayana Guru Dharma Paripalana Yogam, an organization of Elava community, had decided to renew its call permitting men to wear shirts. So on the one side, Sri Narayana Dharma Paripalana Mahamandapam Yogam they wanted to allow wearing shirts. The other side, the Nair Service Society has left it to the discretion of individual temples. So there is no unanimity of opinion. There is no unanimity of opinion. The Travancore and Guruvayur Devaswam boards, which manage major temples in the state, are yet to finalize their position on the issue. So, should men be allowed to wear shirts to enter into the temples in Kerala or not? There is a division of opinion, diversity of opinion within the Hindu organizations in Kerala. And on the one side, Sri Narayana Guru sect, they are asking, Sri Narayana Guru Dharma Palpalana Maha Mandapam Yogam, they want men to wear they wanted to allow men to wear the shirts. And the other communities, somehow no opinion, somehow not yet revealed the opinion, some are objecting the opinion. Okay, you can take your own call on this because it's a matter of tradition and culture and custom. Coming to the other important news, Ukraine halts transit of Russian gas to Europe. Ukraine halted Russian gas supplies to European customers through its pipeline network after a pre-war transit deal expired at the end of last year. Ukraine Energy Minister confirmed that Ukraine had stopped the transit in the interest of nation security. This is a historic event. Russia is losing markets and will incur financial losses. Okay, Europe has already decided to phase out Russian gas, and this is a news that is coming up again. To counter that, even Russia started imposing certain things on Ukraine. So, Ukraine imposing on Russia and Russia imposing on Ukraine. Russia stops natural gas supply to Europe through Ukraine after Ukraine refuses transit deal renewal. Now, Russia will retard definitely. Coming back, the other important news, Indonesia to buy 10 lakh tons of non-basmati white rice from India. Indian government have signed an agreement with Indonesia to export 10 lakh metric tons of non-basmati white rice. So, Indonesia is selling non-basmati white rice to Indonesia. Taiwan introduces 2 new visa programs to attract skilled Indian workers. And the Taiwanese government's initiative aims to address the growing demand for skilled professionals and enhance its workforce to support economic development of Taiwan. The first program is the Employment Seeking Visa. The second program is the Taiwan Employment Gold Card. So, these two are important. Buddhist relics, they were found at Odisha, Ratnagiri. The ongoing excavation at Ratnagiri Buddhist site in Jajpur district in Orissa by the Archaeological Survey of India have uncovered some priceless relics belonging to Buddhism. A monolithic elephant, fragments of Buddhist deities, votive stupas, and many more have been excavated from the Ratnagiri site. Ratnagiri site lies on a hill between Brahmani and Birupa rivers. So, this is interesting and important from the history perspective. From the perspective of history, Indian Navy to commission 2 frontline warships and 1 submarine on January 15th. January 15th is Army Day. Remember, January 15th is Army Day. Indian Navy to commission 2 frontline warships, 1 submarine Navy ship. So, you have to know all the 3 platforms. One is guided missile destroyer INS Surat. One is INS Surat, which is guided missile destroyer. Second is INS Nilgiri, which is a stealth frigate. Third is INS Wagshir, is a final Kalvari class submarine under Project 75. So, all these things are being commissioned into Indian Navy on January 15th. This is also a trend that is coming up. This is an interesting news. Central government or union government to launch revised standards for organic agricultural products. See, everyone is talking about organic products, and central government is now trying to improve the standards. India will soon unveil updated standards with respect to organic agricultural products to bring them on par with latest European Union grades, to bring in more clarity and transparency in the processes while strengthening the regulatory oversight through data analytics. National Program for Organic Production 2014. is being revised to account for long period of 10 years. So now government is renewing and revising the definitions of organic agriculture and the standards and processes with respect to organic products. So important news.